Hey guys, Mapletail here. Today I'm talking about a recent run I did of one of my favorite games, Wildfrost. I'll be going into detail about the very ending of the game, so spoiler warning for that. Also, it was just past the game's anniversary when I recorded this, so happy second anniversary to Wildfrost. Let's get into it. This is a bit of a sequel to the first video I did about Wildfrost 2 years ago, so welcome to another little video game story time. I've played roughly 100 hours of this little deck building roguelike game, but I have technically never fully completed it. When you beat a run of Wildfrost, your main character is taken over by the game's final boss, the Frost Guardian, and that character then becomes the next boss that you have to defeat when you replay, along with whatever team you put together to win. It took me embarrassingly long to win the first time. I had a 3 to 4% win rate for the longest time. I was remarkably bad at it. To be fair, it's a difficult game, and unlike most things I'd played before in a lot of ways. I was never fond of the idea of roguelikes or deck builders, to be honest, but Wildfrost's charming art style and overall good vibes won me over. I've beaten it many times now, my win rate staying closer to 51% now. But that wasn't the true ending. No, you have to win several times with increasing levels of difficulty before unlocking a secret final boss to put an end to the cycle and free the frozen sun. And said boss is a massive difficulty spike in a game I already struggled with. Because it isn't one boss and a handful of enemies. It is 6 final bosses all at once, all tougher than anything else in the game. Very daunting. When I used to play the game on the Switch back when it was easier to reach the secret boss, I'd only made it there 3 times, getting absolutely massacred each time. I knew that if I had any chance at winning, I would have to bring a Clunkmaster character, due to their special ink items that nullify enemy abilities for a time. The 6 bosses all have crazy high health and pretty scary attack too, but it's their abilities that make the fight such a beast. The Frost Muncher will destroy the cards in your hand, the Frost Bomber hits multiple characters at once, the Frost Crusher gains attack with every turn, the Frost Junker gains attack when cards are destroyed, the Frost Lancer hits randomly, and the scariest of all, the Frost Jailer, who stops you from being able to move your cards around the field. Which is a major part of Wildfrost's gameplay and strategy. You can't even easily take him out fast, as he has the highest health of them all, not to mention an attack to match. The last time I'd played Wildfrost was actually here on the channel for a little one-off playthrough, where I'd finally unlocked the ability to start trying for the secret boss, luckily enough. So, the boss I had to fight before reaching the secret one was none other than the character I'd chosen in that run, Alla the Shademancer. But it had been months since I'd played, and I didn't feel likely to win on my first try back, so instead of choosing a Clunkmaster for the strategy I knew I'd need, I did a Shademancer run, as they're my favorite. Funnily enough, I ended up with another character called Alla, this one specializing in doubling the damage their enemies take and hitting enemies back when attacked. A favorite ability of mine. So I gave it a go, and things were going well. I breezed through the tundra, had a bit of trouble early on in the ice caves, but got lucky hitting the easiest boss there too. And before I knew it, I was in the Frostlands, the final area of the game. And that's where my luck curled up and died. In each area of the game, there are a predetermined amount of fights, each one being a battle against a possible few bosses and mini-bosses. And here, I'd gotten the Hogs. The fight I find almost impossible without a certain item, which I did not pick up. I was sure I was screwed. But my relatively random team of Spike, Demona, Foxy, and Robos were actually killing it. I still nearly got wiped by the boss. It was a question of like 2 health points, and had my character not had smackback, that would have been the end. But alas, victory was mine. Alla the Frost Guardian was a bit of a pushover, which I was thankful for. But that meant I had to face the secret boss squad. Now. My slapped together team had meshed well, far better than I expected, but I still felt nowhere near ready to go up against enemies that had up to 6 times the health and 3 times the attack of my best cards. Not to mention one of the difficulty options I'd chosen had caused them all to be upgraded with charms, making their scary abilities even scarier. But I couldn't waste the opportunity to at least practice the fight. And I wasn't immediately slaughtered? In fact, the enemies I'd feared for so long started dropping one by one. The combination of Demona and my character's demon eyes, and the snow I'd also picked up, Robos boosting everyone's attack, and Spike's spikes, we were holding our own. A rip Foxy though, that 4 health was getting him nowhere. I kept most of my squad away from the scariest enemies of the Lancer and the Jailer. Thank goodness they ended up next to each other. And strategically sacrificed my own teammates when it became necessary. Spike's explosion upon death being especially useful. We were going down, but far slower than they were. I was not only winning, but I was winning with half a squad of companions I'd typically not go for. What was happening? Before I knew it, the Frost Lancer was the only enemy left on the field. Well, I still had over half my team left. I had tried not to get too excited and risk screwing up, as I took him down too, letting Alec get the final hit. I'd done it. Not just a victory, but a vanquish. I was thrilled. Shocked, but thrilled. After almost exactly 2 years since I first started playing this game and made my first video about it, I'd finally done what I'd honestly thought would be forever just outside my reach. I'd beaten Wildfrost. Thanks for watching. Recording this reminded me a bit of the shiny hunting video I did a while back. I kinda like doing these little video game story times. Also, I didn't mention it earlier, but the characters I drew today were my Vanquisher Ala, along with my OC Starloom, who was the Sunbringer in a story I wrote. It was pretty fitting that I had to fight a Maw in this playthrough, just like Starloom did in her story, which is where her mask comes from. I used to draw all the Wildfrost characters I won with before I got good enough at the game that was not feasible anymore. So it was nice to get back to that. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next Thursday.